We are back for another episode of Building the Nantahala Retreat, brought to you by Omaze. And I also want to give a special thanks to LP, makers of SmartSide, for providing the siding products for this video. We're using their lap siding, cedar texture shake panel, and prefab trim components, all in the ExpertFinish on this job. This was my first time using LP's pre-finished siding and trim components, and what I can say is I was a little skeptical about how much time it would actually save. But after doing this one time with the ExpertFinish, I can't ever imagine painting a house on site again. And just like most things in construction, we needed to do a bunch of figuring before we started doing any actual work to make sure everything was going to turn out right in the end. We're going to figure out where our band board is going to be and then do some reverse math so that we can start at the bottom of the structure and work our way up and still have a full reveal below our band board. Is reverse math the right way to say that?
Yeah,
we're gonna do regular math, but starting from the top down. And in true Arlo fashion, he decided to make a story pole representing all of the different rows of siding to figure out what the bottom row would be and if it would be a full board or a rip. That's the bottom of the siding. Right. And I'll tell you what's crazy is all this figuring and all the stuff we just did, and you know what? It ended up being just a full board coming up from the bottom as well. And that hangs down an inch below the framing. And sometimes on Monday morning, you get lucky.
Yeah, no kidding. I was like, didn't even have to think that hard.
We should probably go up to the casino right now.
Yeah, maybe. Feeling lucky, exactly.
Something we want to highlight is the what?
Your hair?
Turning. Something really cool that we want to highlight is this awesome LP outside corner.
Cut.
Okay. If you've ever tried to make an outside corner and there's maybe a little variation in your sheathing in the corner, it can be difficult to get these lines to line up on the very corner.
Cut. What Jamie's trying to say is that these outside corners that are prefab are way better, way faster. See that?
It's called a locking miter bed.
Yeah, whatever it is, it keeps it from spreading apart.
Yeah.
And we don't have to do anything except cut them to length and nail them in.
It sounds nice.
This is a Monday morning kind of thing here where Jamie forgot the air compressor. Jono's coming with the air compressor.
Hey, didn't you just say you just watched Back to the Future yesterday? Yeah, this is what it's like. I feel like I just went back to the 40s.
So if you forget to bring one thing out to the job here way out in the woods, especially an air compressor, you're dead in the water. But we decided to go ahead and drill a few holes and just tack things in place so we could keep moving until Jono showed up. To get going with our first row of siding, we first needed to rip some kicker strips, at least that's what I call them. It's basically a strip of wood that will simulate the bottom piece of siding overlapping a piece of siding, which it doesn't. We're using a piece of pressure-treated wood that's ripped actually thinner than the siding because of the location it will be behind our first row of siding is higher than the normal overlap will be on the rest of the rows. The reason for that is that our siding will hang down 1 inch from our framing so that water could never get between our mud sill and the slab. Next we got going tacking some of the window trims that Jamie had pre-made in the shop, and this does make it a lot easier. And if you're wondering, the reason to use a window trim is so that the window is serviceable. Later you can pull the window out just by pulling the trim out instead of having to cut any siding that's lapping over the flanges. It also accents the window and looks better. I was really impressed with how rigid and true this LP SmartSide trim was when compared with a lot of the other manufactured trims we've used in the past. One other small task that we could take care of without an air compressor was to go ahead and do this drip cap that would tuck up underneath the counter flashing that we had put underneath our deck band. This will keep water running out on the face of the siding below our deck. Jamie custom made this piece of drip cap on our metal brake in the shop, and I've seen a lot of houses that don't have proper flashing, and I think one of the reasons is it's hard to buy what you need sometimes, and that's why we end up making it in a lot of cases. Here's the finished product with a piece of trim installed. It's also a good practice when doing siding to install a drip cap over the top of any horizontal surfaces like the top of a window trim so that water will run out and over the face. Now we're up and running. Hoses, nail guns, and I love this compressor. I was gonna tell everybody, it is very silent. Like, I'm just talking normal voice here, right next to this thing. We got this from Northern Tool and Equipment. Love it. So I finally broke down and bought some of these Gecko siding clamps after using them at my friend Johnny Brooks's place and realizing how much they sped up the siding process. They basically hold your piece of siding with the correct reveal, and they actually just hold it in place for you so you don't have to hold it by hand while you nail it. Jason actually said he would refuse to put siding up on this house unless I bought him, was the other reason. On the opening for the door right here, we decided not to install the door yet because we don't have gutters and it's a wood door. It's sitting in the basement, but in a lot of cases it might get damaged if we install it early. Using this LP SmartSide versus fiber cement siding is a no-brainer to me for lots of reasons, including you can cut it with a regular saw with no silica dust and it doesn't break under its own weight, just to mention a couple.
That's done. That's painted and caulked.
Oh my gosh, that is like.
Hear that, Ray?
Oh, I hear it.
Oh, dude, he was doing cartwheels this morning before we got to work.
I'm never painting again.
Well,
It comes with one.
Wait, what are you doing?
What have you been doing over there, bro?
lunchtime. Another cool accessory that we got to use here was these prefab J-blocks, which I also call a decal block. These J-blocks will give you a flat surface to flush mount a light or mechanical termination on the outside of the siding. They're pre-cut, pre-painted, and come with a drip cap. With all of the trim and flashing installed on this side of the house, we could go crazy installing the lap siding, which was actually faster than installing the flashing. These Gecko clamps really helped out, and I'm not sponsored by them, but I would really recommend them. This pre-finished siding we're using by LP called ExpertFinish has one other really cool feature, and that's a half-lapped butt joint. There's also a line on the underlapping side that's a spacing guide, so you don't have to think about or even measure the spacing on the siding. I think this is a great upgrade that will help keep water out of the house and also help people install it properly without having to think about it.
You got that fresh out of the shower look?
Yo, peacock, get out my way. Nice. They make a battery-operated nailer.
I don't know, but this is one of the first times we've had hoses out here. And man, I'm telling you.
Jamie likes best.
You know, Jamie doesn't like these Gecko things because of his fear of cumulative error. We should ask him
What?
about that, yeah.
What does that even
Super
mean?
big fear of cumulative error.
Cumulative error, what is it? Well, my understanding is that when you have a small amount of error that seems harmless, but then you do it a bunch of times and all those small errors, let's say a 1/16 of an inch per row, if you add up 16 rows, well, that would equal 1 inch of error. And that would be a large amount of error in a layout for siding. So that's why I'm
But you would
scared
never
of
see
it.
it coming.
No, you would never know. You'd check each row. Oh, that's just a fuzz high. Oh, that's just a fuzz high. And then you would be in big trouble when you got to the top and you realize that everything coming down added up to that.
Basically, we're basing the height of each row based on the row below it,
Right.
and on up like that.
Yes.
So the question is, are you going to sleep tonight?
I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I'd like to. I'm going to try. Unless
All right.
I have geckos dancing in my head. I don't know.
Okay.
James, do you want to try it?
I don't know. I'm thinking about it.
Come on, bro.
I'm thinking about
Once you try it,
You're doing such a good job.
You'll never
I don't-
go back.
There's no need for me to try it.
So Jamie never did try them, and still to this day, a week later, has not tried them. But he's been keeping busy making window trims and getting ahead of us with flashing, so I'm okay with that. If you're wondering, we're putting up the siding with a 6.5 inch reveal. You can go between 6 and 7 inch with this type of siding, that's 8 inches. And it took us less than 1 day to do the whole basement level of this house, which is awesome.
If you're wondering what's going on, I'm trying to show Erik that I can do this, okay? He challenged me. He said, I bet you can't build that frame that's more than 16 feet that has 3 windows in it and 1 bank all in one piece back in your shop and bring it to the job and have it fit perfect on the first try. He said, I bet you can't. It'll fit like a glove. Bet you can't do that. Look, I'm doing it right now. I got Ray J on my team too. Look at this. Oh no! Oh!
Not good.
I'm a little disappointed. Whatever. It's no big deal. This part's beautiful though.
Wow, and Jamie really went overboard on this using epoxy and a custom steel gusset to help reinforce a butt joint and all these screws, and he even had to make this special system to strap this thing to his truck rack, but then he forgot to add the 7 inches extra for the 2 side pieces.
So now we're gonna cut this up and use these pieces so we don't throw them away. Just spread that back out there for me. All right, well at least these 2 window trims fit. You know, I'm feeling a little defeated about the big one, but dang it, dude.
Dude, hang out with me more often. You'll get used to it.
No. It's all good. I know. It's all good. It's all good.
Hang out on our channel.
Yeah, watch our channel for a while. You'll feel great about yourself.
Oh, I appreciate that. All right, let's see how it should go in here. Hey, this is just real life, folks. Just real life happening here on the job every day.
So with some freshly reclaimed pieces of window trim, Jamie and the guys did this section the old-fashioned way, one piece at a time, measuring and cutting and nailing it together. And you know what? It turned out great this way too. And maybe it took a little longer, and maybe it was a little painful since you had a piece that almost fit perfect, but didn't work at all.
We're at the point in time where we need to put on our deck ledger flashing. We've been using this vinyl pre-made ledger flashing for quite a while. It works pretty good, although sometimes the thickness of it, because it's pretty thick, sometimes that can be a problem, making humps and making our corner boards kind of pucker out because of the double overlap and all that. And you know what? I didn't order enough of this ahead of time, and we need to do this today. But I had some vinyl flashing at the shop, and so this is thinner, but we decided to bend it, and it didn't actually hold the bend as good as I wanted. But it's quite flexible, and we can just bend it right back into position. Now, we would use something else, but it's going against treated wood. You should not use aluminum against your pressure-treated wood, as far as I know, because of some of the corrosive properties of the chemicals in the treatment. And we had to cut a little relief spot. I'm going to show you right here. It's kind of hard to see, but Jason's doing it with a buzzsaw right here. Yeah, give it a little buzz. Wow, that's pretty loud. And the purpose of that is to allow the turn down section of this vertical little section to actually slide between the band and the end of the joist, so that we have a turn down that actually runs out the face of the band, okay? So any water that runs down this flashing will get kicked out and run down the face of the band, and it won't be allowed to run up underneath of that band ledger flashing. In addition to the ledger flashing, we're going to use what we call a blackout strip, but in this case, it's a brownout strip to cover the color of the ledger flashing, because typically it's this gray color, which usually doesn't go with our paint scheme too well, and they always have stickers on them, and you can't get the stickers off. Golly, I've tried. So the purpose of this here, and of course it'll go behind the wall wrap there, we'll do that later, but the purpose is to cover the appearance of the flashing of the vinyl so that we get a nice color that goes with the house. We got brown siding, and this flashing is brown. It just doesn't draw any attention. It just looks really good, and you just never notice it.
And here's a look at the completed flashing job, ready for siding, including a pan flashing for underneath the entry door, and we'll use some really good sealant underneath that door threshold to make it watertight.
The guys are just now about to put on the first piece of siding, and it's already like 1:30. What I am trying to say is that fiddly stuff like doing window trims, doing this ledger flashing, you can see that little strip. We got a kicker strip for the first row of siding. Getting all this stuff prepped is actually taking a ton of time. And I still didn't even do the pan flashing on this door, so I got to do that. Actually, the siding is going to be like the easiest thing about this. It's all this other stuff that takes up a bunch of time, and I think the siding is actually going to go really fast compared to all this. So we'll find out.
And it did go really fast. Jason, Ray, Jono, and Arlo were able to side these two sides of the house in less than 2 hours. And they're really good at construction. A couple notes though is that we are nailing this on a really tight nailing pattern because we're actually just shooting through the sheathing with ring shank nails very often. And also we're sealing any of the cut ends with color match paint before any of this stuff is installed. The siding turned out looking so good that Jason actually wanted a few glamour shots with the siding, so we did that too. We really appreciate you watching, and we really appreciate our sponsor, Omaze, so stick around another second and check them out. If you're not familiar, Omaze gives away one-of-a-kind prizes and experiences while donating money to chosen charities all across the world. Right now is one of Omaze's biggest prizes yet, a beautiful 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom dream home in Austin, Texas, or $1 million cash. They say everything is bigger in Texas, and you'll certainly live large in this house made for the modern day millionaire. Located in Austin's desirable Travis Heights neighborhood, you're within walking distance of South Congress Avenue, where music is live, the barbecue sizzles, and the shopping is top notch. You'll enjoy over 3,200 square feet and 3 levels of amazing living space with private balconies so you can enjoy indoor and outdoors the same. The charity is Folds of Honor, which is a nonprofit organization that provides educational scholarships to the spouses and children of America's fallen and disabled service members. To potentially win the dream home in Austin and support Folds of Honor, a great cause, go to omaze.com/Perkins Builder Brothers.
Hey, thanks for building with us today. We really appreciate it. If you've enjoyed this video, remember to subscribe and give us a thumbs up. That really does help out. Thanks again. We'll see you on the next one.